This is the Investor Connect podcast program. I'm Hall T. Martin. I'm the host of the show in which we interview angel investors, venture capital, family offices, private equity, and many other investors for early stage and growth companies. I hope you enjoy this episode. Investor Connect is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the education of investors and startups for fundraising. Please consider donating $100 to the program to help others in their investor and entrepreneur journey. You can find the donate button on the investorconnect.org website. Well, hello, this is Hall Martin with Investor Connect. Today we're here with Edward Ismawan Chamdani, managing partner at Ideosource, VC, Gayo Capital, and StarCamp. Ideosource Venture Capital started in 2011, investing in more than 30 tech startups with a combined valuation of multiple billion US dollars in 2021. Edward, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you, Marty.
So tell us more about your background before investing in early stage companies.
I was working for IBM in Indonesia until 2002, and then I set up a few startups after that. Exited some of the company in 2007, and then running a consulting company, advising largest SOEs in telco and also postal service in Indonesia in the area of e-commerce and financial technology until end of 2010. So Ideosource VC was set up in 2011 as early stage VC, Martin.
Great. So what excites you right now?
Okay, this is something very interesting in a way that we see huge idle capital and assets that are pure for speculative purposes and without any direct impact or contributions to basically anything and no fundamental. So it excites me to tinker for a solution actually to bridge the gap between speculative investors or capitalists to value investors that are concerned with the fundamental and ideally happy to see their money to contribute to the society in general. And so StarCamp, together with Gayo Capital, we are in our first year developing and starting to deploy our projects. Majority in it is Web 3.0 infrastructure. And our first project was collectible.com, an NFT platform and marketplace for sport, music, TV, original content, and others. And it turns out that metaverse is needed also to enhance the experience to our subscribers. So we also in a process of creating a sport metaverse, investment metaverse, and also a map for a virtual map for Indonesia, and other pipeline already for in the process for this year, Martin.
Great. And so you see a lot of startups and a lot of investors out there. What's your advice for people investing in startups? What do you tell them to do before they write that check?
Okay. Basically, if we see that, with the Web 3.0, we have this year, a lot of investment in the Web 3.0. It's all about the holistic experience. And I've seen too many tech people and startup too quickly jump into the Web 3.0 craze without a general horizontal understanding of the Web 3.0. So a siloed and quick solution usually will be commoditized very soon and sustained business model impossible to be pursued, right? So it's also similar to the early years of Web 2.0, the one that understands the scale and is able to glue various pieces into a holistic solution will win the market in a big way. Yeah.
Great. And so on the other side of that table, what's your advice for people running startups? What do you tell them to do before they go out to raise funding?
I think it depends also on the region and also on the trend. Also, every year, as you know, that venture capital we do not invest in red ocean sectors, right? So, for example, in the case of the trend this year, and basically last year, it started last year, right? it's Web 3.0 is definitely something that we need to look into, and also its infrastructure that can provide, if we focus mainly on the tech aspect of the Web 3.0, I think is a wrong strategy. We know that Web 3.0 is something that we should see from the common non-tech users and customers to imagine what actually excites them with the experience that we can put on top of the blockchain. And again, understanding the value chain is extremely important. So I think my advice for running startup this year is to go into the Web 3.0 space, and then really disrupt the potentials of Web3, not coming from pure technology, but also from the experience and also the holistic view of the uh, technology set that potentially can disrupt the space. Yeah.
Great. So let's talk about the state of investing in Web 3.0. How do you see the industry evolving from here?
Well, we know that the Web 3.0 infrastructure and solution, have been around for some time already, right? And then this is something that we haven't seen early this year in 2021, once the Web 3.0 components in NFTs picking up so quickly. And then we saw an opportunity, and in fact, our earliest discussion to jump into NFT was in February 2021 or last year. We checked the market in Indonesia, and then out of all the crypto traders in Indonesia, less than 1% actually owns the crypto wallet like MetaMask. So most local crypto exchanges have million subscribers, which means there is huge potential growth happening in this space actually.
So what do you think is the biggest change we'll see in the next 12 to 24 months here?
Disruption of many intermediary services across various industries will be disrupted. And in fact, we are starting to plot our own token ecosystem to glue and to bridge between the speculative investors and the value investors, in a way that this initiative can be implemented across sectors, including many of them represented by multi-virtual universes that we can create, potentially cutting common intermediary services to bridge between investors and also project or startup ecosystem. So basically, we are giving abundant of ways for people to to experience what they usually experience in the physical world, and to look into the metaverse.
Great. So tell us more about your investment thesis. What exactly is it, and what's your criteria for making an investment?
Yeah. So now, because we are into the Web 3.0 quite heavily, so it has a clear value proposition right now. Yeah? So in a way that is scalable in a sense of built once, deployed with limited or controlled efforts anywhere. It's almost like a decentralized autonomous organization. So it's the level that we do right now. I think it should be scalable in a way, and involve a lot of people to participate. Yeah? And this is something that if our investment thesis is very important. We don't want to be bogged down developing something that is not scalable. Yeah, and I think with the blockchain DAO, it's very possible for us to do that.
Great. And what startups fit with that thesis?
Well, Web 3.0 startups in any proven and successful Web 2.0 model as a start, meaning disrupting the incumbents, and on top of that, branching out to other capabilities, unlocking the Web 3.0 full potentials. So, in the case of in Indonesia, Martin, we have been around since 2011, right? And then we see that, how a startup that they just started in 2009, 2013, now becoming contributing almost like 2% of the GDP in Indonesia. Yeah? So if you ever heard a company called Gojek, and there's another company called Tokopedia, one of the leading marketplace in Indonesia. So both of them, they merged last year, and then they're planning to be listed this year in Indonesia and perhaps also in the US next year. And yeah, they're really huge right now, yeah, and it contribute a lot into our economy. So I think looking at that experience from myself, started the venture capital early. I had the confidence, even for startup that have the right angle, the right thesis, the right team, and also directions. And moreover, right now we know that Web 3.0 is something that really can disrupt the space and go global. So, this kind of belief and also potential for startup to start this year, I think is huge.
Great. So, what are the challenges for the startup in the Web 3.0 space? What do you see them struggling with the most?
Imagining, what the Web 3.0 can do and think beyond the current limitation existed from regulators, governments, and also incumbent solutions. Yeah? So, in the example of the NFTs, is proven that creators, IP owners are the centers of values, and Web 3.0 is able to provide, the right platform to facilitate and provide full potential benefit to those creators, right? So without giving too much power to intermediary services. Yeah? So it is only scratching the surface of Web3. There will be huge disruption coming ahead of us, and we should not be surprised to see something that we see as a simple invention turns out to be very disruptive and common to our future needs.
Great. And then on the other side of that table, what's the challenge the investor faces in funding Web 3.0 deals?
It's quite difficult to explain Web3, definitely. Yeah, even in the in the US and also in other developed countries. Yeah, to common people, even most of the venture capital investors, is quite challenging. Also, it's already a challenging experience for us to explain them. So there will be some time before Web3 and its potentials are put into the right context and discussed with the same frequency understanding. So this can be a challenge to the investors, but it can also be a huge blue ocean opportunities to many investors and startups who understand it well.
Great. Well, there are many different sectors and applications within Web3. If you had to pick one or two that you think are good opportunities to pursue today, what would you call out?
Well, currently we're pursuing the lifestyle, including the sport, music, video, original content, and part of it we starting to venture into agriculture and any sustainable development goal initiatives. Yeah, so as you know that Indonesia has the tropical countries archipelago with 17,000 islands, and we are can be said as the lung of the earth. So I think there should be a lot of initiative that we can deploy to put Indonesia in the right context. Yeah? Meaning that with this virtual map and the blockchain technology, people will be able to contribute in a bigger way and with the better accountability. Yeah.
Great. Well, in the last minutes that we have here, what else should we cover that we haven't?
Well, this is quite excite me this year. Knowing that after realizing the difficulties explaining Web3 to people, while it is important for us as investors to educate the masses, for faster adoption. So yeah, this is something that I asked a friend of mine to actually He's the one that wrote many bestsellers, business books locally, and I urge him to write Web3 Potentials book as a fiction book or novel, and not to be taken too seriously as a how-to book, yeah, but to give some context, opening up curiosity as to questioning some aspects of our daily life and what is happening in the world we are living in today. Hope to have it ready around probably mid or Q3 this year. Start with the local language, of course, and hopefully we can translate it to English and not this year. Yeah.
Well, great. So, how best for listeners to get back in touch with you?
The best channel to reach me is via LinkedIn, yeah, at EI Chamdani, EI Chamdani.
Great. We'll put that in the show notes. I want to thank you for joining us today and hope to have you back for a follow-up soon.
Yes, thank you, Hallmark.
Investor Connect helps investors interested in startup funding. In this podcast series, experienced investors share their experience and advice. You can learn more at investorconnect.org. Paul T. Martin is the director of Investor Connect, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the education of investors for early-stage funding. All opinions expressed by Hall and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of Investor Connect. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions.